Blog Talk Radio.
First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
You have an activated pineal gland in which that produced this black chemical called melanin.
What we did was gave a hard line in the sand between the different definitions of esoteric study and exoteric study. Playtime is over.
Really say this the gift and the message. My music is a weapon when I use it on the reckless. Spaceship hovering throughout the whole region. Open up the sky and take the shortcut to Venus. Getting on my liver, it's a hard pill to swallow, like comparing your religion to it if the earth is hollow. No need to cry there and let it soak in your tomorrows. Let my music soak up all your bittersweet and sorrows. See the sun shining, I lay back and kick it. Staying sucker free is my new way of living. One day we get together, then we all start building. But the ball that I dribble got me posting like Pippin. Champagne glasses around my organite pyramid. Glazing at the stars, show the kids where we really live. These solar flares got my DNA 12 stranded. Collect the kill strands and feed it to the men spraying. The Washington Moors, some of us we been here to reunite the others and cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012-21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in a highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking in their chest and hard to tackle. Ever since the kid went galactic, my center bracket reached the top and interacted with my solar status. The microphone to grab it, I guess it's just a habit. A living legend in your presence, sorta like the Mavericks. It ain't about me, nah, but it's about the future. I go to races on and dealing with the cockadoodles. I sock it to you like a grandma and your mama used to. The final stage, I ride by the way, just like it's Honolulu. I proved my old school, but since I stayed there, galactic conscious awareness, I got my grades there. See with the eye of hate, no longer bending knees. My inner chief surrender me when it's time to leave. This modern day crap, I don't even follow it. I'd rather symbolize my name up in the hieroglyphs. Declare peace without Battlestar Galactica. Just stepping backwards from my way back to Africa. Washita Moors, some of us we've been here to reunite the others, to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012-21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in the highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to these modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking minute, chest my heart attack to Washita Moors. Some of us we've been here to reunite the others, to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012-21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in the highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to these modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking minute, chest my heart attack. I don't need to be a dope boy, my poetry is dope enough. Trapping interstellar while my third eye open up. See through all the lies that y'all telling with a straight face. Return of the luminous ones. Y'all better make way to find a chapter. Find a collapse on all you politicians. They politicking how to lead a world, no pot to piss in. The way I think is more deep and in the Grand Canyon. I guarantee this black man would be the man standing. My premonition matched the Olmec calendar. It's always accurate like a lightweight challenger. For all you wicked witches and the Wizard of Oz, you and that man behind the curtain, yeah, y'all fits in the fall. Only a matter of time before shit hits the fan. Here's an idiot's guide for you on how to get a man. I don't need a bunch of homies to ride or die with me. I can call on Hey Roo to fly the skies with me. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth. When I'm riding on these city streets, never really miss a beat. To the point of no return, unless I turn another cheek. Catch me on my daily vibe, smooth as I wanna be. Just being me, never chilling with the wannabes. God in the flesh, dated bad sister ledges. Because my history is more than they can understand it. My melanated skin, star brush from the astro. I'm made of dark energy created from black holes. Know thyself, the only one you can lean on. I got some school books that y'all can break y'all weed on. Our here's Martin Luther King and slave ships. But what about the underwater cities and spaceships? My mystical mind, we had the government covering. But if the old man tip will fly away like a mothership, where African people wear the real Anunnaki, wearing feathers on their heads just to prove feet taller than me. Through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth. Yo, don't look at me the same, I ain't nothing like I used to be. Upgraded daily through the lies and all the foolery. My dream became lucid. I travel back in time, collecting life data for my subconscious mind. That father let me know that anything is possible by pulling down the universe through my crown chakra. Manipulate the energy is all an illusion. Knowing who you are kills all the confusion. Why 85% judge off my appearance? I use alchemy to create the world potential. My lyrics turn divas right back at the queens. While dope boys are think twice appearing back on the scene. Everybody gone mad, blaming media outlet. The new Black Hollywood chosen straight out the project. Bobo agenda war, sucking up to the master. While the whole community going up in disaster. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my unk and gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returns to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my unk and gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returns to his birth.
Peace, back once again with Dr. Alim El-Bey, your host, and my co-host, Brother Fahim El. Are you here, brother?
Hey, I tell you, Washington East.
Yeah, I tell you, Washington East. Yes, peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, brother.
All right. We're going to be getting to the noun commands, the powers of words, changes, DNA. So before we get into the commands, let's first establish the power of words as well as also what is DNA. Well, there was a recent article in which that it says DNA science and what Russian researchers have surprisingly discovered. And they said that Russian scientists reprogrammed human DNA using words and frequency. It says DNA science has finally explained previously mysterious phenomena such as clairvoyance, intuition, hands-free healing, supernatural, light, and auras, and more. The discovery are the credit of Russian scientists who ventured into DNA territory Western researchers have failed to consider. Western scientists have limited their study to 10% of DNA responsible for building proteins. That means that they have dismissed the other 90% of DNA as junk DNA. In contrast, an innovative Russian team led by biophysicist and molecular biologist Jochir Gurdjieff refused to accept that such a huge majority of DNA could hold no research value. To probe the mysteries of the uncharted terrain, they paired linguists with geneticists in an unconventional study to test impact of vibration and language on human DNA. What they found was completely unexpected. Our DNA stores data like a computer memory system. Not only that, but our genetic code uses grammar rules and syntax in a way that closely mirrors human language. They also found that even the structure of DNA alkaline pairs follow a regular grammar and has said rules. It appears that all human languages are simply verbalizations of our DNA. Changes DNA with spoken word and phrases. It says, most astonishing of all, the team discovered that living human DNA can be changed and rearranged with spoken words and phrases. The key to changing DNA with words and phrases is in using the right frequency. So the application of modulating radio and light frequencies, the Russians were able to influence cellular metabolism and even remedy genetic defects. It says the team achieves incredible results using vibration and language. For instance, they successfully transmitted information patterns from one set of DNA to another. Eventually, they were even able to reprogram cells to another genome. They transform frog embryos into salamander embryos without lifting a single scalpel or making one incision. The Russian work provided scientific proof of why vibrations, affirmations, and hypnosis has such powerful effects on human beings. Our DNA is inherited programmed to respond to language. Esoteric and spiritual masters have known this for many ages. All forms of affirmations and thought power derived in part from their underlying principles. The Russian research also have helped explain why the esoteric techniques are not equally successful for all who use them. Since clear communication with DNA requires the correct frequency, individuals with more highly developed inner processes will be able to create a conscious channel of communication with the DNA. Now that's deep. That is deep right there. The whole article is deep, but that particular part explains something, or it specifically spoke about why it doesn't work for everybody. All right, and the reason why is because each person has to find their own particular or correct frequency and develop a means of inner processing. In other words, whether it's through your breath techniques or whether it's through your visualization techniques, whether it's through particular music, tone, vibration, etc. This is what creates a conscious channel of communication with DNA in order to change the DNA. So it says individuals whose consciousness is more highly developed will have less need for any type of device. In other words, to apply radio or light frequencies or, like for example, Tibetan monks, shamans, Buddhist monks, Shaolin monks, yogi practitioners and masters, and etc., has a higher form of consciousness. All right, we spoke about this before, that there's several basic forms of consciousness. Within psychology, they only deal with 5. They deal with gamma, they deal with beta, alpha, delta, theta. Right, and then that's what they deal with. All right, we deal with interpersonal, intrapersonal, life consciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness, magnetic consciousness, and infinite consciousness. Well, the deeper you can go into the level of consciousness and go beyond subconsciousness into super magnetic and infinite, an individual who is able to do that, which is by controlling the breath, which we spoke about many times before. If they can go from 18 breaths, cut that in half to 9, to 7.5, to 6, to 4.5, to 3, and then eventually 1 breath a minute, which is reaching infinite consciousness, which is subatomic particles. If you are able to do that for 72 minutes, which is an hour and 12 minutes, doing that particular 1 breath breathing technique, that's breathing in for 30 seconds, breathing out for 30 seconds. An individual like that can actually tap into and change their DNA frequencies and extend their telomeres. The telomeres is known in science to be the life extender or the life decreaser or degenerator. If you're able to extend your telomeres, then you can postpone death, live a longer life, as they say, longevity, as well as also able to be healthy. All right, so this is definitely something that we have to tap into. All right, so DNA intuition, or what is called hypercommunication, works and why humans may now be able to reclaim it. Well, Russian scientists also found DNA basis for the phenomena of intuition or hypercommunication. Hypercommunication is a term used to describe situations when someone suddenly accesses information outside his or her personal knowledge base. In other words, tap into the Akashic record, tap into your past reincarnations or incarnations, which is stored in your oversoul. All right? In our times, they have become, or this has become increasingly rare. That most likely because the three top factors that prevent hypercommunication is stress, anxiety, and a hyperactive brain has become so prevalent. For some creatures, like ants, hypercommunication is woven into daily existence. Do you know that when a queen ant is physically removed from the colony, her subjects continue to work and build according to the plan? If she's killed, however, the ant becomes aimless and all work instantly halts. Apparently, as long as the queen is alive, she has access to group consciousness of her colony through hypercommunication. Now that the Russians are untangling the biological independence of hypercommunication, humans may be able to regain full use of this skill. When the scientists found in their own DNA in our state, the scientists found is that our DNA can produce magnetized wormholes. These magnetized wormholes are miniature versions of bridges that form near burnt-out stars, which is called Einstein-Rosen bridges. Einstein-Rosen bridges connect different areas of the universe and allow the transmission of information outside of space and time. If we were able to consciously activate and control such connections, we could use our DNA to transmit and receive information from the universe's data network, which is the Akashic record. In particular, the planetary Akashic records, the solar system cosmic records, as well as also galactic cosmic records, and universal or cosmic, right, Akashic records. The findings, which is universal library, so it is adds into what is called the universal library in its totality. Now, the findings of Russian DNA science and research are so groundbreaking that they do truly sound incredible. Yet we already have isolated examples of individuals who have mastered the necessary techniques, at least on some level. Those who have success with remote healing, viewing, and telepathy are examples to be considered. According to many with an active interest in the Russian DNA research, these findings reflect the major changes according to our Earth, Sun, and galaxy. These changes are affecting human DNA and elevating consciousness in ways we may not fully understand until well into the future. All right? So we know that we're being able to reprogram your DNA, you can cure diseases. Reprogram your DNA, you can have optimum health, as we were talking about. All right? Brother L, you want to add anything on to what we're talking about here, and before I go to the next article?
Okay, yeah, of course. But Alim, yes, the thing about words and DNA, people need to learn to see how powerful words can actually be. You know, words are very powerful, especially when you relate it to the DNA. You take, for instance, the word itself. You know,
right.
You put an S in front of it, you got sword. Because you say some things. I've heard one person say, you say one thing, a word to someone, and somebody may love you. And you say another word, somebody want to hate you or may want to beat you up. So,
or as they see, the tongue is a two-edged sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword. You know, that's how powerful words really are. You know, even when you put words in a sentence, if you notice in some of your schools, they saying, well, you will learn. That's a command. That's not you're here to learn or you're nothing like that. That's a command. You may say something to somebody, and somebody might decide to get angry with you about something, because the way you brought the words to them, just like the prophet said, if you want to change the people's thinking, you must change their literature, and that's what dealing with the etymology of words, especially when you want to deal with the DNA. So even the words when you're dealing with certain words when you're dealing with meditation, like the AUM or Solomon, on, you can deal out those 3 words also. Those 3 syllables also with the name Solomon, and meditation form. They all have a certain vibrational, give you certain different vibrational energy, So dealing with the breath, or dealing with the holy breath, words involved in that also. And they're very powerful.
Right. Actually, the only way in which that you can speak a word is by breathing. So the word made flesh and the holy breath is actually one and the same. So, so when scientists prove DNA can be reprogrammed by words and frequencies, there will be time for us to figure out what particular words can be utilized. Being that now we speaking of so-called bastardized language, such as English, can we really say that you can utilize the language in which that we speak, being that it is been encoded inside of our DNA? That means you can find the best words or the highest resonating or frequencies within the words, or patterns or modes or schemes that can be utilized as musical notes or tones in order to help heal, the physical body. Most people call it positive affirmations. They call it mantras within ancient Kenites or Kemet, Tamare or Tamari. They refer to it as the Haku or the Heki, which is the words of power. They refer to it, as, the secret word. It can Freemason, so it's many things in which that we have to come to understanding, overstanding. In particular, it states that the human DNA is a biological internet and superior in many aspects to an artificial one. Russian researchers or scientific researchers directly or indirectly explain phenomena such as clairvoyance, intuition, spontaneous and remote acts of healing, self-healing, affirmation techniques, unusual lights and auras around people, namely spiritual masters, mind's influences on weather patterns, and much more. In addition, there is evidence for a whole new type of medicine in which DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by words and frequencies without cutting out and replacing single genes. Now, understand that GMO food is purposely put on the market to insert the message code or the frequency or light code within your DNA, within your genes. So GMO food is called genetically modified organism, or what we call frankenfood. But it's an organism, and the word organism is taken from the word organ, which is, within Latin, means two legs. It's a living thing. So this living thing is affecting your genes and altering it, and this is the problem. So in order to keep them GMO particles from contaminating your physical being down into your emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, etc., etc. You will have to learn some other type of words or frequencies in which that can help to minimize the damage or nullify or neutralize what is taking place on this planet through the food, through the water with the fluoride, through the air with the chemtrails, which is barium, aluminum, etc., etc. Anyone knows, who does the research knows that aluminum, when it's stored in the brain in a high capacity, becomes very toxic to the body and can actually promote what is referred to as Alzheimer's, as many other illnesses or brain problems or issues. It creates forgetfulness. All right? So we have to come up with these powerful words that can be utilized. And it doesn't matter, particularly the language in which that is used, because the mind really doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fantasy. The only thing it knows is what you program it with. And being that you have had many incarnations, you have spoken many languages in your past lives. Those who don't understand what I'm talking about is real simple. They have fragmented the brain of certain people in which that they literally did not know Russian, but was able to speak Russian fluently, but was never taught it in their lifetime. So where did this fluent Russian effect come from? All right. Some say, well, it came through the ancestral genes or the DNA, the pool of DNA, or your genetics. Yes, and it also could have came from your past lives, which is stored in your oversoul, and you gain access to that information by way of your Akashic record, which is your personal Akashic record, which is the medulla oblongata, which is at the back of your head. And we spoke about this before, is that if you tap on that area 25 times, 3 times a day, you can scarify that area, in which that gives you access to photographic memories, as well as also give you access to the past lives. You begin to start remembering your past incarnations, in which that there may be things in which that can help you in this particular incarnation, so that you can finally not have to incarnate again or any longer. Because we have been on this planet for billions of years. The planet is allegedly only 4.5 billion years, and we came into formation with the planet in human form. Now, how did that happen? We're still researching that, but we know that that is what happened. Because you get a book called Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Cremore and Richard L. Thompson, where they speak about the fact that humanoids on this planet at least 2.8 billion years. Billion, not million. So don't confuse what we're talking about with D.N.A, who was called Lucy, in which they found, in which that dates back to about 2.8 million years. Each of them 2.8 billion years. Molten metals, having high civilization. All right, so we understand that there's things in which that is going on planet Earth, of which that scientists do not have the answers for. Religious folks do not have the answers for. However, if you start combining the science and the religion, you begin to start getting more answers than both of them have. And so this becomes necessary in this day and time, based on in the age of Aquarius or in the age of Peru, which is the age of truth, the age of knowing. All right, so it goes on. It says only 10% of our DNA is being used for building protein. It is this subset of DNA that is of interest to Western researchers and is being examined and categorized. The other 90% are considered junk DNA. So Russian researchers are convinced that nature was not dumb, joined linguists and geneticists in a venture to explore the 90% of junk DNA. Their results, findings, and conclusions are simply revolutionary. According to them, our DNA is not, all right, only responsible for the construction of our body, but also serves as data storage and in communication. Now, why would we have to store data or information if the information is going to be deleted at death? It just doesn't make any sense. The Russian linguists found that genetic code, especially the apparent useless 90%, follows the same rules as all our human languages. To this end, they compared the rules of syntax. That's the way in which words are put together to form phrases and sentences. All right, semantics, the study of meanings in language form. So when somebody say, "Oh, that's semantics," yes, it is. The study of meanings in language and form. And we're supposed to be studying that, as it's the basic rule of grammar. They found that the alkaline of our DNA follows a regular grammar and do have set rules, just like our language. So human language did not appear coincidentally, but are a reflection of our inherited DNA. Right? Russian biophysicist and molecular biologist Gurjava and his colleagues also explored the laboratorial behavior of DNA. For the sake of which we won't go into in depth here, but basically the bottom line was that living chromosomes function just like holographic computers using the DNA laser radiation. This means that they manage, for example, to modulate patterns into a laser ray, in which they influence the DNA frequency and thus the genetic information itself. Since the basic structure of DNA, alkaline pairs, and the language are the same structure, no DNA decoding is necessary. One can simply use words and sentences of the human language. This too was experimentally proven. Living DNA substance in living tissue, not in virtual, will always react to language modulating laser waves and even to radio waves. Hence the reason why music is so important and why proper music, which is actually 432 hertz, is necessary as compared to the music which is played nowadays, which is 442, which is unnatural. Natural music is vibrates or has a hertz frequency, all right, of 432 hertz. Right? So if the proper frequencies are used, then it can tap into your DNA and change you. Right? This formally and scientifically explains why affirmations, hypnosis, autogenius training, and the likes can have such strong effects on humans and their bodies. It is entirely normal and natural for our DNA to react to language. While Western researchers cut single genes from the DNA strand and insert them elsewhere, the Russians enthusiastically worked on devices that can influence the cellular metabolism through suitable modulated radio and light frequencies, and thus repair genetic defects. All right? Right, so it's very important to understand. Right, so when we're looking at that, you know, we have to understand that we're in a whole different level, whole different area of understanding now. Not just dealing with individuals, you know, who's thinking on a BC level. We understand that even the fact that we 75% water, which is equivalent to the 75% of water on the earth, and being that we earthlings becoming the same image as the earth, as you know, 3/4 water, 3/4 water. When you study the Japanese scientist, he passed, Musaru Emoto, and he did his illustration with the water. He showed that water has a spirit. Matter of fact, over 400,000 channels of memory is what water possesses. Once again, it has over 400,000 memory channels is what water possesses. Right? So water vapor molecules are actually, once again, data storage. So when your breath is released upon the last, on the point of death, or at the contact, you know, as they say, of death, and your electrons is released along with your last breath or vapors, that is the information, which is 7 grams, in which that is totaled up to. That is the information in which that you contain within your body, which is being transferred and is being lifted up into what is referred to as the ionosphere. Okay? So your consciousness still exists even after death. This has been proven also. All right? So we have to understand that this is transference of information, and the best way that you can extend your life or control D.N.A. for your health is through words, frequencies. All right? So let me get into this part too. There's various species of animals that live, that either live a very long time and or do not die of old age. Some examples are the tortoise and lobster species that live to be over 130 years old naturally and do not usually die unless they get sick or killed. After we become adults, our cells eventually stop self-replicating. Geneticist Leonard Ainsworth figured out that each of our cells divide about 50 times and then they stop. The DNA telomeres become shortened. Now, what is DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. All right? Deoxyribonucleic acid, ribose, red. That's the red that is spoken of in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament. The telomere, when lengthened, turns back years in human cells. Once again, the telomeres, when lengthened, turn back years in human cells. So that means if you come up with a now command, you can utilize that and change your DNA and lengthen your telomeres and turn back the hand of time. Once all of our cells stop replicating, we start to degenerate and then eventually die. Right? This discovery shows that we are actually programmed to die biologically. So does that mean that you have to die? No, because it's a biological program. Remember the movie Matrix. The movie Matrix shows you that everything was a program. Right? And what gave Neo his ability to control the program or the programming of the Matrix? It was his belief. He started to believe within himself the first thing is that he had to rectify the situation with his name. Smith kept calling him Mr. Anderson. And when he had it down in front of the train, as the train was coming, he said, "My name is Neo." And that's when the change began. So what's the name Neo? We know that the name Neo symbolizes neocortex, which is the higher mammal brain, which is part of the frontal lobes, which is at the front of the head, area top of the head. All right? Which is the new brain, as they refer to it as. So Neo means new, but also when you scramble it, it means the one. And then you go back to Jet Li, when he played in the one, that the galaxy in which that he had to go to was called the Nimbus, in which that he found his version of his higher self. Right? And Nimbus symbolizes the door, which is symbolic to Sirius, of course, which symbolizes, even in the Quran, in 53rd surah or chapter, it's of Al-Najm. Al-Najm is the star. And in that chapter, it speaks about how Allah is the Lord of the mighty star Sirius. All right, so Sirius is spoken of not just within the Holy Quran, but also within many different schools of thought. The Rosicrucians, the Eastern Star. Matter of fact, that's who the Eastern Star is actually based on. It's the Sirius A star. Masonry. They all speak about this sun that is behind our sun. All right, and that's called that Sirius A. Of course, our galaxy came from an explosion of, and that residual gas is what formed our sun and what formed our solar system into existence. All right, that's another story. I won't get too much into that, but this discovery showed that we are actually programmed to die biologically. Scientists everywhere are on a search for the people to reprogram ourselves so that we can bypass this rule and find a way to stop humans from dying of old age. According to research on worms and mice, changing our genetic codes can lengthen our lives. There are very specific genes in our DNA that cause us to grow, and other genes that help maintain our health and fight off disease. After we are fully grown adults, we should be able to shift the energy from our growing genes into the maintenance genes, in which that will double our lifespan, or triple, quadruple, or live up to 1,000 years. As the Bible speaks of, that the day unto the Lord is 1,000 years. Or as Methuselah lived to be 969 years old, biblically that is. So a new study by researchers in Wisconsin, Spain, France reports that the first evidence of specific molecular changes in the body follows a period of intense mindfulness practice. Once again, this is the clue. Pay attention to what I'm repeating here. It says a new study by researchers in Wisconsin, that's in the United States, Spain, and France, reports that the first evidence of specific molecular changes in the body following a period of intensive mindful practice. So, put your mind where the place is. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton, gene activity can change on a daily basis. If the perception in your mind is reflected in the biology of your body, and if your nervous system interrupts the environment, and then and interprets the environment, and then controls the blood's chemistry, then you can literally change the speed of your cells by altering your thoughts. All right, I'm going to read that again.
All right.
Yes, all right, so according to Dr. Bruce Lipton, gene activity can change on a daily basis if the perception in your mind is reflected in the chemistry of your body, and if your nervous system reads and interprets the environment and then controls the blood's chemistry, then you can literally change the state of your cells by altering your thoughts. So your thoughts are very important. Remember, thoughts are things. And then when you add to the thought your emotions, you intensify the thought. All right? This is why you replace, when you're doing these now commands, or what you've been taught to be mantras or affirmations or decrees or positive words, you would take it from your mind as you inhale, replace the thought in your mind, and as you exhale, you'll send the thought down into your heart. All right? In the right ventricle artery, I think it's in the right ventricle or in the right area of your heart, there's a seed. It's called an atom or an atom seed. And from that seed is where your lifeline comes from, which is called your silver cord or your ethereal cord. Right? All right. The Rosicrucian speaks about this, because this is something that needs to be studied. All right. A good book to get is Astral Body by A.E. Powell, Powell, A.E. Powell. All right. Another good book is called The Etheric Double by A.E. Powell.
All right.
All right. These are books that you need to get in order to understand what I'm talking about. Now, in the simplest terms, this means that we need to change the way we think if we are to heal and promote longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is what, in fact, Dr. Lipton's research illustrated, that by changing your perception, your mind can alter the activity of your genes and create over 30,000 variations of products for each gene. He gives more detail by saying that the gene programs are contained within the nucleus of the cell, and you can rewrite those genetic programs through changing your blood chemistry. So that means you can change your blood. How can you change your blood? You cleanse your blood. That's what it means. Well, what are the blood cleansers? There's various herbs that you use in the blood cleanser. You can, if you breathe deeper and longer, then you'll put more oxygen into your blood. So hence, that would change your blood chemistry within the cell. But for those, they might need 8% to 35% hydrogen, food grade hydrogen. That can help. They may also need alkaline water, which is 7.4, and in alkalinity. That will help. The herbs that will help, of course. If you have a problem, you can use baking soda. Have a teaspoon of baking soda in the morning with water, or alkaline. Your water helps get rid of cancer, disease in the body. Of course, most people understand that nowadays. So that's it. I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm just simply trying to get y'all to understand the connection. And then, of course, you can also use various others, like I was saying.
Well, we spoke of cayenne pepper.
Yeah, cayenne pepper is definitely a good one. That's one of the best ones, actually. Matter of fact, with all of the herbs which I'm getting ready to mention, use cayenne pepper along with it, and cayenne increases the intensity and the efficiency of The herbs. The herbs for blood cleansing and blood building is alfalfa, padiaco, echinacea, chaparral, burdock, golden seal, yellow dock, all right, astragalus root, all right, maca, goat tea, spirulina, chaparral, okay, red clover, all right, black walnut, wormwood, all right, garlic, all right. These are the herbs in which that helps build the blood, right? Eradicating negative bacteria, viruses.
Another good one is hydrogen peroxide.
Right, that's what. Right, we spoke about that 8 to 35% full grade hydrogen peroxide, exactly. Right, as well as also squeezing a lemon in your water upon raising, or upon you getting up in the morning, within the first 20 minutes. That within a liter of water, right, a whole lemon in a liter of water, that helps alkaline and activate your whole, the whole body system, all your organs. And within the first 45 minutes upon waking up, you should go to the bathroom and eliminate, defecate and urinate, these toxins and poisons from out the body. Okay? So this is what he's saying. He says he gives more detail by saying that the gene programs are contained within the nucleus of the cell, and you can rewrite those genetic programs in changing your blood chemistry, as we just talked about. In the simplest terms, it means that we can change the way we think if we are to heal and promote longevity. Our genes are quite dynamic in their expression, and these results suggest that the calmness of our mind can actually have a potent or potential influence on our expression. This is what Davidson, another scientist by the name of Davidson, said. All right? So, let's get to some of the noun commands. All right? And you're going to state your name. Right now, make my life force stronger, faster. Plus, raise my life force energy, frequency, vibration. All right? 2. Let's say your name. Right now, let go of the false light, darkness of the matrix. All right? Up to karma and structure as my physical vessel and my invisible vessel. Right? So, any false light or darkness of the matrix that's stuck to karma or the structure as my physical vessel and my invisible vessel. 3. 5. Right now, let go, plus cut, plus move from my whole vessel every false cording that spans lifetime plus parallel lifetime. And cording from out the cords, right? Any attachments that you have had that you created in this existence, in any of the past incarnations, or even on parallel worlds or universes or dimensions, realms, density levels, cosmic zones, etc., etc. You release all of that. Remember, we're talking about not only to promote longevity, but also to have not to come back here again. So actually to end incarnation, all right? as Bobby always said, you don't want to come back with that baby brain. Right? Come back here and mess with that damn baby brain. You know, so you don't know what the hell going to take place. So what happened? You got here in the same shape, and that's why you're doing all that crying as a baby. All right, so here it says, 4. I may pull back to me the missing parts of my pure spirit, plus heal my spirit vessel faster. 5. I, remember, right now command my spirit vessel plus my physical vessel to be perfect, plus have total purity in this lifetime. And this is added 1, which is 6. I command right now command faster, pure health, wealth, currency, abundance, more, and faster. All right, so those are the now commands that can be used. It is recommended that you do that 10 times a day, which is type B. And once again, as you breathe in the chi or prana or ki energy into the brain. And then as you exhale, you move it down into the heart and you settle it there. So as you begin to start saying your now command, your heart, which is your desire seat, will bring forth these things into manifestation. And you will want to do these once again 10 times a day, when and if possible. All right? Brother L, you want to add anything?
Yes, I was listening to how we can get onto the DNA and words again. Is it possible we can use that skill with the DNA and words when we're dealing with legalese in the courtrooms?
Oh, yeah, well, remember, when you talk about ritual, we're talking about the word right. Not just when you write something down, but also when you write as a passage of right. As you would have in a ceremony, as being a Freemason or Eastern Star or Rosicrucian or whatever, there's a ritual or a rite in which that goes along with that. We, as so-called African people, are supposed to have our rite of passage around the age of 13. All right, just like so Jews have their bar mitzvah. Right, well, we're supposed to have our rites of passage. So these are rites, R-I-T-E-S. So the word rite and ritual, all right, the word ritual, rite and ritual have the same roots. And then when you write something, the same ability to create, it's called a spell. Hence the reason why they say that it's spelling. All right, because you are actually placing a spell. So through your writ, which the word W-R-I-T is W-R-I-T-E, which is right, writ, and then that's from R-I-T, which is right. You know, all these are all connected. So when your writ go before the court, you know, that is what you're doing, is placing a spell on them through your writing. All right. So if your writing is powerful enough, and then if there's no rebuttal to your writ or your affidavit or notice, then your writ or notice or affidavit stands as truth in the court of law. That is according to the 10 maxims of law. All right. So that means the DNA has acquiesced, meaning that there's fraud in which that is taking place in court, and he knows it, so therefore he remains silent. All right.
All right. That's deep. Okay.
Right. If he has not invoked his Fifth Amendment, and he does not say that in court that he has invoked the Fifth Amendment, then that means that he has acquiesced and that everything in which that proceeds afterwards is fraud.
Hmm. Wow.
Okay, because
Okay.
his oath to the Constitution. You didn't take your oath to the Constitution per se. You took your allegiance to the flag as you was a child coming up from kindergarten on up into the 6th grade.
Right.
All right. And it was to the United States of America. It wasn't to the United States. There's a difference.
Okay.
The United States of America is the republic.
The republic. Yeah.
Right. The United States is a corporation, which is a democracy, which means democrats, which means ruled by demons or mob rules. Okay. So in all ways, you have to master this word play. It's just not chanting Black Power. Because as Lily Fuller, Dr. Lily Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing have told us through their writings, Confrontation of White Supremacy, as well as ISIS papers, it states that there's a 9-battle front. And law is one of those fronts. So why is he so gung-ho about national, claiming to be nationalists but don't declare their nationality? Because Marcus Garvey was a nationalist. Noble Drew Ali was a nationalist.
Not a citizen.
All right, and those individuals who are nationalists is the ones who form, or their theology or their information form the various groups in which we now see, whether it's the Nation of Islam, whether it's the Nation of Gods and Earth, whether it's the continuation of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world, or as they say, the Moorish Divine National Movement. These particular groups came from a nationalist standpoint, a Pan-African standpoint, but in particular a nationalist standpoint. We have video footage of John Henry Clark, Dr. John Henry Clark, stating specifically that Negro, Black, and Colored are not nationalities, that we as a people do not have a nationality. Were they listening to him? No, because he is a nationalist, not just an Afrocentrist, not just a Pan-Africanist, but a nationalist. So these individuals who's coming saying Black Power and claiming to be Pan-Africanist and claiming to be nationalists and don't have a nationality, that's now cipher.
Right. Not even affidavits writs to in the county recorded records and deeds to not proclaim to the public, that that's who they are,
Right.
No kind of documents or anything, but they keep on saying that they are nationalists or Black nationalists, which is no such thing.
Right.
It's a Black nationalists that do not exist,
Well, it is you have no nationality. Because those who have a nationality are the true nationalists.
Right.
They're the ones who really follow what was taught by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, what was taught by Sir Marcus Mosiah Garvey. All right, so let's get that straight. I want to get that straight for the people so that can be understood.
Right.
Okay. So the first thing you will ask a person who's saying these particular terms, Black Power, or etc., do you have your nationality? As you state that Black Power, you're a nationalist. That's what you would. That's the reason why you state that. And then when you look at the general or the chairman of the New Black Panther Party, the late great Khalid Muhammad, he stated in his last address or lecture that he was a Moor. And if he stated that he was a Moor, then he's not lying about it. And who can change that? Who can say that that he's not?
Right.
And see, that's because his name before he became called Khalid Muhammad, it was that he gained that name by way of Minister Louis Farrakhan. His name was Dr. Rashid before that. And I have a tape of Dr. Khalid when his name is Dr. Rashid giving a whole damn 2-hour lecture on the Moors.
Mm.
Okay, so this is the nonsense which is going on. There is no separation between Africans and Moors. One and the same people. Moors come from out of Africa. All of us come from out of Africa.
African Moors.
Right. The Holy Quran Circle 7 speaks about the word Africa more than 19 times, or Africans more than 19 times in the Holy Quran Circle 7.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, it does.
So Moors talking about they not from Africa. Excuse me, but obviously they never read chapter 47. It says the dominion of what? That's the dominion of Africa.
Yeah, we are African descent. We are of African descent. We were just the first inhabitants. We are the Aboriginal people of the Americas.
Well, exactly. And that's the way that it needs to be explained, because you have individuals who saying that we never been to Africa. That's not true. All life springs from out of Africa, in particular of the South African people. In particular, they was the Twa people at that time, who still lives within the Congo region, the Rwanda region, to this day. All right? So that's not true. And there's documented proof that they are the oldest people on the face of the planet. Okay?
And this thing about Scipio Africanus,
Well, right. But even on Wikipedia got this shit right. So if we even go to Wikipedia, it says that Scipio Africanus was named Africanus. That was a nickname that he gained after the defeat of Hannibal. Right? They call Hannibal Africanus. That was Hannibal's name. So they took Hannibal Africanus, they took Africanus from Hannibal, and they gave the Scipio as for his defeat of Hannibal, who was the greatest general and technician of war of all time. Okay, so that is how he gained that title. He was not even from what we now call Africa. So how in the hell could he have named it Africa?
He could have.
Okay. Right. All right. He was a Roman. Right. Scipio was a Roman or Latin name. And it's not saying that we didn't have Moorish Latin, because we did. It was a language that we also spoke. Matter of fact, the language is still spoken today in the Mandinka tribe. All right, Latin, Arabic, and then two native languages of Mandinka or the Mandingo is spoken to this day. Latin is still spoken and written to this day in the Mandinka tribe. So there is Moorish Latin. However, this individual in which is called Scipio Africanus did not name Africa. All right. E.A. Wallace Budge, in his book, the ancient, I think it's the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics or the Egyptian hieroglyphics, he speaks of the word Af, A-F, or Afu, meaning body or house or temple. That's what Af or Afu means. And then Ra, of course, means sun, light, or photonic energy. And then Ka means spirit. So Afu or Af actually is your physical body, which is related to Ka, which is your physical body. And within it is your spiritual soul, which resides within, which is the Ka, which resides within, which the Ba and the Ra is actually one and the same, resides within the physical body, which is the Afu or Af. So your physical body symbolizes Africa. So you are African because the physical body symbolizes those principles, those three particular principles. That the physical body is the house of the spiritual soul. And the Bible tells you this in 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, the 12th chapter, well, not the 12th chapter, but 1 Corinthians 3:16. It says, do you not know that your body is the temple of God?
Yeah, the cause, but the spirit, the energy, the Africa.
Right, but of course, I know for some of y'all Negroes, this is just semantics. But it's semantics when you trying to prove your point and being linear, but when it comes to being holistic, it's semantics. But as long as you're trying to prove your point, then you don't have a problem with it. So, I mean, this is just a nonsense that is going on in the so-called conscious community. You still, even with the so-called conscious community, you still have the different levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
And most of those so-called conscious people do not want to be holistic in their thoughts. They want to continue separating and dividing and causing confusion and conflict amongst the people because that's how they make their money. They're doing the same thing that Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackass is doing.
Yeah. They pay for that.
Right, they're opportunists. So as soon as they see opportunity, or as soon as there's some money to be made, that's the hell. How else can you explain how Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton don't have a church, but yet they both reverends, and yet millionaires? Who the hell who they've been shaking down? Well, they've been going to the families, giving the families the information on how to sue, and because of that, they're going to make deals with the corporations to not allow the families to sue. So how much you want to pay me for doing that? Well, that means you must be about $5 million. I give the family about $1.5 million. They'd be happy with that, and then they keep the rest. That's how they continue maneuvering. Right?
That's
how they do it.
Right,
they shake the corporations down. They go and use the family. You see Mr. Bobblehead standing there, even now with the Gardner family, who just got a settlement for $5.9 million. And of course, everyone knows that's not enough, but you're talking about almost $6 million. Make me think about Steve Austin and shit, the $6 million man. But that's how much they gave them, was $5.9 million. So we understand that this, well, for those who don't know who Mr. Bobblehead is, just look at Al Sharpton and you'll figure out what I'm talking about. All right. But other than that, we're going to get up off the head, brother Al. Brother Al. But what's your closing comment for the night?
Did you say something?
Yeah, I said, what's your closing comment for the night?
Oh, I enjoyed the show, and looking forward to doing the next one next week. Same time, same station.
All right. That's what I'm
Peace
talking
to
about.
everyone in the human family.
All right. And since that's the case, we're going to head on out with the transition by my man. Oh, hold on. We got area code 234. Area code 234.
Hello.
Peace. Yeah,
peace.
Those all right. I can activate my palm chakra.
Yeah, well, you can simply clap your hands together and activate your palm chakra. Or do like Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid, and rub your hands together, real fast, and that will activate the that prana in the hand.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mhm.
So that's how I get connected to my higher self.
Well, I mean, that can help you by activating your hand chakras. You can heal your endocrine gland system, which is your chakra. You will practice what is called Reiki, in which they keep the tension at the top of your head for 3 to 5 minutes, over your eyes 3 to 5 minutes, over your ears inside of your face for 3 to 5 minutes, over your throat